Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
Hey, Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steve and Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found. Of course, taped live at the twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. On today's episode, we're going to be, are we getting Paul to zoom in about the NXT preview? It's a stacked NXT tonight, man.
Yeah, apparently they want to beat AEW in the ratings. That's the word going around.
I really don't think that's going to happen. They got Kevin
Owens.
I
don't think it's going to happen.
But they're trying. They got Kevin Owens. I think Finn tweeted that he was going to be there.
Yeah.
You got some good brothers showing up, from what I understand. So they're main rostering up NXT. I don't think.
Short of Roman or Brock Lesnar going to NXT, I don't know if there's going to be a massive ratings pop.
Yeah, I mean, look, what did they do last week? 730 or something like that?
Yeah.
It was pretty decent. They might hit, I mean, I don't know. If they're able to recreate that, maybe they can get up to 800.
I mean, it's possible because AEW's on a different night. Some people might not be aware.
They're on a different night. Might start late because of the baseball game. We don't know.
It might get moved to another channel at the last minute or something. Who knows?
Is that a possibility? Has that been bandied about?
I don't think seriously, but if the game goes super late, if it's like a 17-inning game,
like the other night,
Mariners Astro ones yesterday,
wow.
It's essentially like a 6-hour game, then
they're gonna shove it
they're
on.
Gonna preempt a live show for 3 hours, so that's put it somewhere.
Stick it on a Travel Channel all of a sudden, and it gets like that, 200. Yeah. It gets like Impact numbers. We're gonna be talking about last night's Monday Night Raw. Oh, nice! There is an NXT preview. Oh, great, Paul.
Right now.
Triple A, he's zooming in again, man. He's still got the vid. So we're going to talk about last night's Raw. We're going to have an NXT preview with Triple H zooming in. We're going to talk about, Triple H also had some stuff to talk about. The White Rabbit, the QR code campaign they ran to hype up Ray's return this coming Saturday. We've got NXT, our watch along for NXT Halloween Havoc, which we'll be doing on the twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. Of course, tonight, we're also going to be doing our AEW review after Dynamite, whatever channel at whatever time it ends up happening. But first, let's talk about this. One of the cornerstones of AEW is sticking around, first reported by Variety and later confirmed by All Elite Wrestling. Chris Jericho has signed a 3-year contract extension with AEW that will keep him with the promotion through December of 2025 and see him, quote, take on increased responsibilities behind the scenes at AEW and will now serve as producer and creative advisor in addition to continuing as a mentor to young talent. Tony Khan commented on Chris Jericho's extension, saying this: Chris Jericho long ago cemented his legacy as one of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time, and we're fortunate to have his skills, charisma, knowledge, and insights in AEW for years to come. Chris has discovered a fountain of youth this year, and he's having some of the very best matches of his legendary career against some of the top names in wrestling. And expanding his responsibilities, he'll continue to serve as a valuable leader with our roster, having the opportunity to utilize one of the most creative minds in the history of wrestling. AEW included comment from Jericho in their press release about his extension, where the current Ring of Honor champion, the current Ring of Jericho champion stated this. I've been with AEW since literally day one, and in the midst of enjoying what is being called the career year for me in 2022. After 32 years in the pro wrestling business, I'm excited and proud to announce the extension of my relationship with AEW and the Khan family. Working closely with Tony Khan every day is a rewarding and stimulating experience from both a creative and professional standpoint, which has reignited my love for pro wrestling. I don't think I would still be wrestling at this level or be as passionate about the business if AEW didn't exist. As a result, I feel a great responsibility to keep AEW the best it can be, both inside and out of the ring. Over the next 3 years, I'm looking forward to not only continuing my work in the ring, but to also focus on my ever-increasing responsibilities outside the ring, including producing, advising, and assisting Tony with creative ideas and providing leadership, encouragement, and guidance for our fantastic roster. AEW is a great team, a team that I'm proud to say I'll be a part of for a very long time. That's a smart move on AEW's part. Like we were just talking about in the pre-show, so for some of it's going to sound redundant. But given what has happened over the past 6 weeks And especially in that time, Jericho and Mox really seemingly have been the glue that have kept this mess together.
There was three names. It was Mox, it was Jericho, and it was Bryan Danielson. They were the three that held the talent meeting after Brawl Out. And, you know, right now with Mox and Jericho just signing these contract extensions, you know, and part of those extensions includes expanding their roles within the company. I think obviously, they're seemingly at the forefront of that.
And the idea that Tony Khan would rely on them, you know, I've said during this spell when AEW has been a bit more bereft of stories than they had maybe in the past, you can look at Jericho, who's in the middle of one of the better stories AEW has going right now, the Daniel Garcia, you know, Ring of Honor, Pro Wrestler, Sports Entertainment thing. It is one of the bigger reasons to watch AEW programming right now. And, you know, even, you know, lost in the salaciousness, the scandal of Brawl Out, the media scrum, Jericho was the one guy at the media scrum who was actually there, you know, answering questions and being kind of the adult in the room. And he always seems to be that with AEW. He's always seemingly, not seemingly, you could see it on the TVs, had a desire to work with and elevate younger talent, or talent like in the case of Eddie Kingston, who obviously isn't younger, but guys that are the more compelling characters. Jericho is always lining up to work with those guys and make them look good. Look at what his work with Orange Cassidy, with MJF. Chris Jericho's always been a guy who wants to get those people over. And you and I have talked about, well, where was he when the guy at the top of the company, when he was young, Hulk Hogan? Jericho's age now, when Hogan was that age, keeping everybody down, being the ceiling that guys like Jericho couldn't bust through. Jericho's in that position now, and he's trying his damnedest to elevate people. This is such a smart move on Tony Khan's part that he recognizes, I need this guy. I need Mox. I need these guys in my company to keep doing this stuff.
Yeah. I mean, especially in a situation where it seemed like for a while leading up to and Brawl Out, there seemed to be a bit of a leadership void in terms of dealing with whatever backstage stuff was happening in the company. To kind of have Jericho and Mox now in a somewhat official capacity be, you know, I don't want to go back to the Jericho Cody story about if you dub yourself locker room leader, that means you're not the locker room leader, but this pretty much says in his contract he's a locker room leader. But it's a situation, I think, where Mox and Jericho have probably earned that respect from their peers, and this is just kind of indirectly making that official in some legal paperwork.
It's
also
like,
given his penchant for reinvention, it's good to have Jericho involved in the creative process.
Oh yeah,
you hear him talk about some of the ideas he's come up with for himself through the years creatively. You know, again, as we've seen of late in AEW television, it'd be good for Tony Khan to get some help on the creative aspect of things.
You
know, have a Jericho there to throw some ideas out, pitch some ideas, bounce ideas off of. Not a bad call.
Yeah, no, I think this is a terrific signing, or re-signing by Tony Khan, recognizing the work that Jericho's put in. He does seem to take pride in what he's doing there at AEW. And you got to appreciate that. That's cool. So Sports Illustrated had a write-up on this deal. Tony Khan dropped a bit of news about the future of Ring of Jericho, saying, we'll have great news soon about Ring of Honor weekly shows. He says the success of Death Before Dishonor and pay-per-view has ensured there will be more Ring of Honor pay-per-views. Our goal is to have one more great pay-per-view for Ring of Honor in 2022, and then follow that up with a weekly show in 2023. So you got between now and December 31st to crank out one more.
Final Battle, that was usually Ring of Honor's end of year pay-per-view. It's gonna be good when Ring of Honor gets their own weekly TV. I don't know if I necessarily agree with it, but I've seen some people talk about the putting more focus on Ring of Honor stories on AEW TV is a bit of a distraction from AEW. I mean, it's a balancing act where you have this brand that you want to use in a larger capacity at some point as its own TV property. So you can't just purchase said property and not do anything with it. You have to keep it alive and relevant in people's minds. I get that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the fact that Ring of Honor storylines are going on AEW TV. I think it's kind of more so the implementation of said storylines. They're not always the most captivating But that goes kind of sadly, AEW of late, from a creative standpoint, hasn't really been hitting on all cylinders. There's been some good stuff, but there's also been a lot of stuff that hasn't really connected.
They went through a stretch where it was really struggling. I feel like with the exception of the standard critiques and criticisms we have in terms of how they treat their women's division, which means they kind of don't very well. It's been like there's been some better stuff. Like they did pull the trigger on the Acclaimed, which was good. Yeah. And so they've got a thing going now. I'm not, I say that, and now I'm remembering that they're in the middle of a lawsuit angle, and that sucks.
Yeah.
But it seems like lately, this past Dynamite was pretty decent. We'll see how tonight's goes. But yeah, it's been an up and down situation for them, and maybe Ring of Honor being kicked over to its own thing. If Tony puts a moratorium on fucking new belts, maybe it'll seem a little less ridiculous with just everybody having a title belt, and largely some of that's about Ring of Honor being there as well. Because they've got a ton of titles as well. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see like where that's going to land. Warner Brothers Discovery seems to be pro AEW. The thoughts of they're going to come in and scrap the show or whatever seem to be much ado about nothing. Mm-hmm. The ratings are always good. They're always winning or almost winning the nights in that freaking demo or whatever. So I don't know. Maybe they'll put it on HBO Max where it'll be an interesting slice of weekly sports entertainment. Or maybe it'll find its way on like travel channels. I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna land.
Travel Channel and the Warner Brothers Discovery.
So Travel Channel's where Ghost Adventures airs, I think.
That's right.
And that's on Discovery app,
right.
And now it's Warner Brothers Discovery.
You're right.
So I think so.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No, I think you're right. I just being out of the weather. It's just.
No, it's a good question because like, why wouldn't they have had the Ghost Adventures guys on AEW programming yet?
See, really, that's
right?
the crossover I really wanted.
It's like, are we sure Travel Channel's part of Warner's now? Because like they haven't had them
Ghost
there.
Adventures. Yes, exactly.
Why wouldn't you do that? Maybe they're just anxious to work with Baron Corbin before we talk about his big return last night and his nude.
Well, just imagine the ghost hunt with Ghost Adventures and Abaddon.
Look at this in chat. R. Jones is already asking us. Triple H calling in. He's gonna later on in the show. At the end of the show, we do our NXT review. He's going to call in. He's going to zoom in. He's still dealing with some, he's got the stomach COVID right now. So, but first, we're going to talk about Paul Levesque because he talked about the White Rabbit Project. Larson, what did he have to say about this?
So, The Wrap has an article about the ratings gains that SmackDown saw when Bray Wyatt dropped his return promo, if you will, on SmackDown this past Friday. And in that article, they got a comment from Triple H about the White Rabbit vignettes that led to Bray's re-debut. This is what the Cerebral Assassin, the King of Kings, had to say. Quote, "We asked ourselves how we could bring back Bray Wyatt in the most engaging way possible, so we created the White Rabbit Project, intended to lead our audience down this literal rabbit hole of content to help build anticipation for Bray's return to Extreme Rules on Peacock. It started with flickering lights in arenas, continued with the release of other Easter eggs, like hidden QR codes within episodes of SmackDown and Raw that led viewers to more clues that kept them guessing and tuning in each week. It culminated in what we believe was a massive payoff for our fans and for WWE."
Oh man, I'd like to pick his brain just about the YouTube channel. The one that had the Jefferson Airplane song, the White Rabbit song on it. How'd you guys do that? Did you guys just like find another channel, find the owner, and then license it from them? How'd you do that? That's probably what they did.
That's probably what they did because then at some point they have.
It's a more logical situation than like time travel, obviously.
Well, obviously, yeah. There was a channel that had the stuff, and they just kind of procured that channel for a hefty sum, and then all right, get rid of everything. But we
got a lot of money. We could time travel now. Wow, really interesting. All right, let's take a quick break here to get a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. Larson.
What's that, Steve?
We've been seeing more and more professional athletes speak out about the importance of mental health. There's been several top stars that have stepped away from their sports to tend to their own mental well-being. But pro athletes aren't the only ones who need to take care of their mental health, and therapy is the best way for anybody to stay in peak mental shape.
That's true, Steve. There was a point 20 years ago where I was dealing with severe anxiety and realizing that I wasn't at the top of my mental health game. I went in search of a therapist. But back then, finding the right therapist was a difficult process, and it took me quite a while to find someone I was comfortable talking to. But once I did, I started gaining the tools I needed to better cope with my anxiety. Today, BetterHelp is a great option if you're considering therapy because it makes the process of finding a therapist much more convenient and accessible. The whole process is done online, so you don't have to leave your house. All you got to do to get connected with a therapist is fill out a quick survey. Plus, you can switch therapists at any time.
So when you're ready to feel at the top of your mental health game, therapy can get you there. Visit BetterHelp.com/raw today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/raw.
And let's get a word from our sponsor, RexMD. Listen, guys, I understand you don't like going to the doctor. I understand it can be difficult going to the doctor. Talked about certain issues, especially those down there in the crotch chop zone.
Right there. You guys know what we're talking about. But here's something to remember. Most men's health issues have a simple solution, and RexMD is all about simple solutions. You see, RexMD makes getting generic and branded Viagra or Cialis easy. Everything's online, even the prescription, and they deliver straight to your door. No office visits, no talking to a receptionist. It's super simple.
It is super simple. All you got to do is fill out a quick medical questionnaire online. A doctor will review your situation and prescribe you generic Viagra if appropriate. Then your medication gets shipped directly to your door with free 2-day shipping.
Thanks to RexMD, over 300,000 guys have gotten generic Viagra quickly and conveniently. RexMD is fast, simple, and cheap, and you can access your U.S. licensed RexMD physician anytime you need afterwards.
RexMD just works, and it works the very first night. So guys, are you ready?
Bow.
Starter packs of generic Viagra or Cialis are now available for our viewers, but you've got to go to RexMD.com/raw to get started. That's RexMD, RexMD.com/raw.
All right, before we get back to the show, let's get a word from our sponsor, DraftKings. You know, Larson,
What's that, Steve?
it's been a little while since I've checked out a UFC card, but UFC 280 is just a few days away, and I'm thinking of checking it out this time, man.
Oh, really? Yeah. You know, I remember seeing TJ Dillashaw main event UFC 177 back in 2014, I believe. Mm-hmm. And he's in the co-main event this weekend, 8 years later. That's pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man.
But get this, Steve. You can get even closer to the octagon with DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of UFC. And check this out. New customers can bet $5 on UFC 280 and get $200 in free bets if your fighter wins.
Whoa. And if I wanted even more action and a shot at boosting my winnings, then I can try a same game parlay. I know you love your parlays, Larson.
Oh, I do love myself a good parlay. All you got to do is combine multiple bets like which fighter gets the win, how long the fight will last, and so on. So if you haven't tried DraftKings Sportsbook, today is the day. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code RAW. Throw down $5 on UFC 280 and get $200 in free bets if your fighter wins.
That's code RAW this Saturday at DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of UFC. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. So anyways, let's talk about Monday Night Raw from last night. What did you think of Monday Night Raw, Larson? What do you want to talk about first?
There was some good stuff. I don't know. The second half of it, maybe it's because I'm under the weather a little bit. I'm a little sick. I watched it this morning. And I don't feel like, I don't know, it didn't connect as much. I didn't feel like as the first half. Like the AJ Dom match just kind of dragged on for a spell.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that sentiment. I thought that
I didn't think the Elias segment was really that solid either.
I'll be honest, like maybe it's because Paul was out. You can ask him later on. He's going to zoom in. Maybe because he was out and, oh, you didn't know? Road Dogg evidently was running things. That's what I heard anyways. Maybe that's why. But like, yeah, somebody here in chat noted, and they're totally right. There was only one women's match last night.
Yeah.
I thought that like Baron Corbin's re-debut with JBL wasn't kind of what I was hoping it would be.
No. No, the whole angle of well, this person wouldn't have cut it in the Attitude Era. I'm like, why do I don't give a shit about that. I don't care. This isn't the Attitude Era. Attitude Era was not the end all be all of wrestling.
So I'll be honest with you. We were doing the watch long. I didn't really listen to much of JBL. Are you talking about his promo on Dolph Ziggler?
Yeah. Well, I mean, when he's on commentary, he kept on. I mean, the whole crux of his thing and his promo was it started with Dolph. He's good now, but he couldn't have cut it in the Attitude Era. And he kept on saying that over and over. And then on commentary, he also said that Baron put him in any era of wrestling, and he would thrive, and he would be towards the top of the card. I'm like, well, hold on a second. He's in this era of wrestling. He's not even at the top of the card consistently. So you're telling me that when you stand him up to the likes of The Rock, Stone Cold, Hogan, Macho Man, Bruno, now he's going to best them all? I think not, JBL. All right?
Doesn't hold a lot of water there.
No, and this is just hey, I like Baron.
Yeah.
I think Baron improves a ton since he's come from NXT. He's a quality performer. He has always been put in the best situations. I have no problem with Baron. It's just how he's been utilized. And maybe if he had been utilized properly, then maybe, yes, you can make that could be your thesis, JBL, and maybe I might buy into it. But right now, based on the career Baron has had so far in main roster, I hear that I'm like, all right, I'm gonna ignore everything you're saying, JBL, until you say something that makes sense to me.
Yeah, or get a suit that fits right.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. When weeks ago, when the limo pulled up and Baron got into the car with him, I was like, oh, that could be good. You know, like I like a well done vignette. I like a well done skit, and I was like, these guys would be perfect for that. It'd be awesome to see JBL and Baron talk about, I don't know, money or whatever their gimmick is. You know what I mean?
Beef.
Like,
I'm sure they money and beef they can talk about. Yeah.
Sure. You know, that sounds great. And JBL is a good promo. Like the dude can talk. And we'll say this also. He's always been one of the more interesting personas in pro wrestling, simply because, like,
way of putting it,
he's well, you know, because there's the bullying stuff. But then also, like, he goes to, like, you know, countries and villages in need and builds houses.
Yeah, I know.
Like, he's a charitable guy. Like,
yeah, I know.
He
seems like a complex individual, yes.
Right. Like, there's just this complete shit version of him. But there's also, like, this dude does some cool stuff also. So it's very confusing. I don't like it. I like people to
he seemed to try to bully the entire state of Oklahoma last night.
Well, yeah, but that's just in character. He was having some fun with that. But yeah, no, he just got up there and ran down Dolph Ziggler, and I was like, okay. Like, number one, I think Dolph would do. Do you think Dolph would do okay in the Attitude Era? The thing is, he's so influenced by Shawn Michaels. It's like, okay, well, yeah, he'd do really well, but Shawn Michaels was there. Like, it'd be like a warrior.
Well, I mean, if the whole idea is, it's literally, I don't know if JBL said it in so many words, but it kind of just felt like Baron, he's a larger dude. Yeah. Like JBL. What, he's 6'6", something like that. Dolph, maybe 5'11".
Oh, yeah.
6
Smaller
foot
guy stuff, yeah.
You know, it wasn't so much like, hey, you weren't a good enough wrestler. Yeah. You didn't have the charisma.
Yeah.
That's kind of felt like
you're not tough enough for the Attitude Era.
Kind of. Part of that I feel like is that, hey, Dolph, compared to Attitude Era wrestlers, you're a little on the small side.
This is why for me, dude, it was more, it's a matter of presentation. You know, that's why presentation is such an important element of going in Raw Math, is because when a dude is going to come out, he's got a remixed version of his Happy Corbin theme. So it's really not that different.
He's got two great themes just sitting in the vault.
Right. He's got a fedora, or whatever type of hat that is. Maybe it's not a fedora.
It looks like a fedora.
It's got elements of a fedora, but I think it's a little bit different.
Is it flat brimmed all the way around? Does it curve
I
up
think it was flat brimmed, and fedora,
so
I think, goes up. Yeah, right.
Fedora.
I know there's a different name for that particular hat, but he's got that hat that doesn't match the rest of his outfit. And the rest of his outfit is like, he's got a new logo, which is kind of cool. It looks like an investment firm logo, which is like what I think they want to do.
I guess.
Like, because JBL's a money guy. So it's like, okay, it's like an investment firm logo.
Yeah.
But like, here's the biggest faux pas is he's got that vest and then like the pants, which have large chunks of nude colored vinyl.
It might be leather.
Oh, leather, whatever. Yeah. Whatever it is. It looks horrible. It looks terrible.
Literally, when he walked out, I was wondering why there was massive pieces of his pants missing.
And he looks self-conscious wearing this getup, or self-conscious being with JBL. I don't know what it was, but I'm like, man, you have an opportunity here. Instead, you got JBL wearing clown pants. I'm like, bro, like if you've lost weight, that's great. Adjust your clothing.
Yeah.
Like,
he keeps on talking about how much money he has. Go to the tailor,
Like, he looks like an after picture where he's holding his fat guy pants out of the waist. Those legs were huge. Like the pants were flopping around. Remember our buddy Nate? Remember like years ago, he lost a bunch of weight, and then we did the film festival thing because he runs a film festival, and he showed up in a suit that he had from when he was like 50 pounds heavier, and he looked like Charlie Chaplin. And that's what JBL looked like. I have a hard time taking you seriously when you look like clown. And so, yeah, I don't know. The whole thing, I'm like, you have an opportunity. And like you said, I like Baron. He brings a lot to the table. He really does. For a guy his size, he's athletic. He's a good wrestler. He's gotten a lot better. He is versatile as a performer. We've seen many aspects of him, but they never get him right.
No, and this is another instance, I feel like, of not getting it right.
Yeah.
Baron doesn't need someone doing his talking for him.
No, he really doesn't.
He's a good talker.
Yeah. And it's like you put these are supposed to be money guys. We drive around in limos and stuff. You put him in what you think like an oil baron would wear. Not like an old school, not like a There Will Be Blood type situation.
The hat and you want the monocle too, Steve?
Monopoly man. That's what I want him to be.
Yeah,
Monopoly
exactly.
Man. I know that's real estate, but still. I don't know. It's nice fitted outfit or something. He's used to wrestling in business attire anyways.
Yeah.
What he usually
on
does.
with that.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I thought it was flat, and I thought it was like, man, we don't need. I guess the Road Dogg era needs to not start now. Can't wait for the game to come back.
Yeah, I mean, there's some good stuff. You start the show with a pull apart brawl, and I generally won't complain.
Mm-hmm.
Lashley and Brock going at it.
They started mid-sentence. Awesome. That episode started mid-sentence with Lashley talking shit about Brock. They hyped up the Dexter Lumis versus the Miz stuff, and then they wonked out on that.
Yeah, and the whole Gargano aspect of telling Miz, hey, just tell the truth.
They
heck
got
is that
something.
about?
They got like something is going on there.
Yeah,
like Gargano knows the truth about the Miz and Dexter Lumis. I don't know. Did Road Dogg just completely? Did he pull like a Rian Johnson on that second Star Wars movie?
Oh, completely rewrite.
Which I dug that movie, by the way. But like did he take all the stuff that Triple H is setting up and just completely take it in his own direction? It's like, man, you're supposed to just steer the ship. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, just steer the ship. Don't find a new destination for us, because that doesn't work. Because he's coming back like next week, hopefully.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, that the Gargano aspect of the Miz storyline was a bit of a head scratcher.
Yeah,
it's one of those things where, hey, there's a mystery somewhat afoot, but is it one that's necessarily intriguing? At this point, I would have to say no.
Well, no, you're right. It's not. But given the recent predilection for referencing history, wouldn't it be awesome if they did find some nugget that they can point to on tape and be like, hey, you see this right here? This is when. And it's like, holy shit.
Was Loomis an extra in some segment that the Miz
crapped on him or something?
And all that Loomis wants is an apology or something like that?
Maybe they got something.
I mean, it'd be pretty flimsy.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Anyways, it kicked off, like I said, with whatchamacallit, with Lashley opening the show. He's already in the ring. He's already talking. He's like mid-sentence. This dude's already 2/3 through his promo. Calls out Brock. He wants to fight now. Brock comes ringside, and they fight. Big brawl breaks out. Lashley spears Lesnar through the barricade. Refs, producers, security, the locker room, they all come out to break it up. Lashley is able to push past Shelton Benjamin. Tackles Brock over the announce table this time. Hits him with the big spine buster through the table.
Yeah, it was good stuff.
Yeah,
it was good stuff. And then we get a match. The OC, the official, the original, the only club that matters.
Yeah,
he still says that in their Tron.
Yeah, they're not getting rid of that.
Taking on Alpha Academy. So I'll say this: Gallows and Anderson, good brothers. They had a bit of a pep in their step.
Oh yeah. They got the fresh tans going. The gear looks fantastic, and they're clearly not. They're not just rolling in for one of them Impact paychecks, dude.
No, they're not coasting at this point. So they get the win here. Hit a magic killer on Gable. And then as soon as the match is over, pretty much Judgment Day's music hits. They walk out to the ramp. Finn says, "Too sweet." Same old crap. Nobody's ever seen that before. Real sarcastically. Mm-hmm. And then Priest says, the OC think they've accomplished something great. They accomplished something great last week. The only thing they accomplished is that they're going to get cooked by Judgment Day. And Finn says, "I'm the one that started this stupid club. I made you guys so I can break you guys, which is why we're here to challenge you clowns to a match, but not tonight at Crown Jewel." AJ says, "We accept." He says, "I can't understand why everyone does this. You're standing there. We're here in the ring. Let's just do this right here, right now. That is, unless you have to ask your mother for permission." And Finn says, "How dare you?" And then Dom storms right up to the front of the group and says, "How dare you, AJ, unless you'll be like my dad and go running the other brand because you can't hang with Judgment Day." And AJ says, "Oh, Dom, look at you. You're so cool. You're so bad. So long as you're standing next to Judgment Day." He says, "Dom, you're a piece of trash.
Piece of trash.
Scumbag, little punk. And since you want to run your mouth, why don't you step in the ring and handle business?" And then Rhea says, "Dom is going to rip you, AJ, limb from limb." And then she turns to Dom and says, "You're going to do that, right? Are you a man or are you a boy? Do it."
Do it.
And Dom says, "I'm going to wipe the mat with AJ, rip him limb from limb." And then AJ tells Dom to bring his ass down here to see what you got. Dom says, "Well, I'm not ready now, but when I am ready, I'll mop the floor with you, AJ, so maybe like in an hour or so." And AJ says, "All right, fine. Get changed. Go drink some water because I'm going to do something that your dad should have done, and that's beat the piss out of you." And that's just too sweet.
Yep. Good stuff here. I love Rhea just manipulating the shit out of Dom. It's great.
Yeah.
After that, Seth Rollins, probably the most over guy in WWE right now, comes out. It's such an issue that they're continuing this thing with him and Riddle because they want to get Riddle over, but you can't. Nobody's going to be more popular than Seth right now. So he says, "For all the folks who doubted me, for all the haters who stopped believing in me, you can kiss my big, beautiful red behind." Ha ha ha.
He had a very bright red suit on.
It was very bright. He says, "For everybody who never counted me out, who always had my back, do what you've always done and sing my song." And of course, the entire crowd sings his song because it's a very singable song. He says, "Tonight is a historic night because it'll be my first event in what will become the greatest U.S. title run of all time. Because in the main event tonight, I'm going to wipe the mat with Matt Riddle's face. And in the process, I'm going to clear up a miscommunication that was Extreme Rules." He says, "I might have tapped out when Riddle had me in the triangle, but that was a strategic move. I did that for you guys because 2 days after that, I had to beat Lashley and become the new U.S. champ. I tapped out for all of you." He's interrupted by Mustafa Ali. He congratulates Seth on winning the U.S. title. He says, "I was waiting to give a shout out to Brock for the assist." Or he was like, "I was waiting for you to give a shout out to Brock for the assist." He says, "But Lashley promised me that I was next in line for a title shot, but I get it. Things change. Champions change." He says, "But my challenge remains the same. I want to fight you, Seth. I want to fight for the U.S. title." And then Seth says, "I have a question for you. Do I look like Bobby Lashley? Sorry, pal. You'll have to get to the back of the line. I got to focus on Riddle tonight." So you got two options. You can stay out here and party with the new champ, or you can skedaddle out of the ring because you don't belong in the ring with me. And he's getting all in his face obnoxious, so Ali takes his sunglasses off. He says, no, it's not going down like that. He says, "You may be Seth freaking Rollins, but what you're staring at is Seth's next freaking problem. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not backing down. I want to fight." And Seth says, "Well, I appreciate what you're trying to do. I actually like you. You're one of the best performers there is here in the WWE. He says, "What people may not know is that you're an even better human being." He says, "I see what you do with the young guys, helping him out." He says, "You're a great friend, a great father." And then, whoop, he sucker punches Ali, throws him out of the ring. Seth walks out of the ring. Ali lays Seth out from behind. Seth hits Ali in the throat, throws Ali into the ring post. End scene.
Then we get a quick shot backstage of JBL's limo arriving at the arena. Then we get Dakota Kai and Io Shirai taking on Candice LeRae and Bianca Belair. Damage Control got the win here when they took Bianca out of the match. So Candice hits Dakota Kai with the enziguri. Bianca and Io tag in, and Bianca goes on to run. Eventually, LeRae tags back in. Her and Bianca hit a suplex missile dropkick combo. Dakota breaks up that pin. Dakota hits Bianca with a scorpion kick, and Bianca responds with a glam slam attempt, but Dakota ends up sending her to the apron, boots her to the floor, and then she turns around, takes a code breaker from Candice. Bayley leaves commentary, gets a kendo stick from under the ring, takes a swing at Bianca. Bianca ducks, tackles Bayley over the announce table, and while all that's going on, Io hits Candice with an air raid crash, falls, and then damage control falls with a double team spine buster powerbomb type thing to get the win.
Yeah. So, is this going to be War Games damage control versus Bianca, Candice, and somebody else?
Yeah.
What have they brought back?
Because later on they mentioned that both Asuka and Alexa have been taken out by damage control.
They're out.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do they bring back? What's her name? Nixon Newell.
Well, Bayley did make reference to Candice being a former tag champ in NXT and said something along the lines of maybe she should get her former partner to come help her.
Ooh, yeah. After that, we had a Matt Riddle interview. He says, I've gotten to know Seth pretty. I like this because it went from one scene to the next and the next in one take. He says, I got to know Seth pretty well, and I've come to realize he's a lot like one of those cheap hoverboards. He's a lot of, this was actually a funny metaphor. He says he's a lot of fun at first, but then it starts to overheat and then sets your house on fire. Is a bunch of tech nerds trying to cover it up. It's wild. It's like, the fuck are you talking about, man? He says Seth can make any excuse he wants. But I already exposed him in the fight pit, and tonight I'm going to beat his ass bad and become the new U.S. champ. So then Riddle notices Ollie off screen. He walks up to him. He says, man, it takes a lot of guts to step up to Seth. And if I win the U.S. title, I'll give you the first opportunity. And then they hear over to the side a scream, and it's The Miz. They walk up to him. He's on the ground holding his knee. And he was looking over. He says, man, I was looking over my shoulder to make sure Loomis wasn't following me because some high school dropout janitor didn't do their job. He says, I slipped and fell. Now I'm injured. And then Ollie tells Miz to show some respect. Call the janitor custodian. Riddle says, it's actually a sanitation engineer. And Miz is like, I'm pretty sure I got a torn ACL at the least. I'm going to sue this entire building. There's no way I can compete tonight. Go get me help. So, yeah, that was pretty funny.
And then they go off and they're like kind of half-assed. Help, they're a doctor around here.
Yeah.
They were really related to it. So we're backstage. Judgment Day's talking. Finn's talking about how nice guys finish last. And Priest says, yeah, it's fun to bad guy.
It's fun to bad guy.
And then they all notice someone step in off frame. Camera pans over. It's Cora Jade. And Rhea's all, what do you want?
And she's decked out in Judgment Day. It's all black, but she has purple stuff in her hair.
Yeah. And then so she says, I got to pick an opponent for Roxanne. And I couldn't think of anyone as ruthless and as dominating as Rhea. And Rhea's like, let me get this right. You guys used to be best friends. Now you're not. You want me to come to NXT and beat the hell out of Roxanne Perez? Sure. I won't mind. I'm in.
Yeah. She's like, yeah, why not? After that, JBL comes out and he's got a big old promo. He says, a momentous occasion for the wrestling god to come back to WWE, and tonight's no exception. He says, I've got an announcement that will shake the foundation of Raw, but before I make that announcement, he says, from the bottom of my heart to the world, I apologize. I apologize for doing this in Oklahoma. Texas is right across the Red River. He talks shit about OU losing to Texas. He says, but as much as I would love to stand here and bash Oklahoma, because honestly, I despise this state, I've got great news. Rey Mysterio has left Raw. He says, Dom finally found out what I knew years ago, that Rey is one of the worst human beings on the planet. He wears a mask because he's ashamed of himself. He says, but that void has created the greatest trade since the Bambino went to the Bronx. And he tells the crowd to welcome Baron Corbin. Now, this I like because they made logic of Rey going to SmackDown. Yeah. A trade happened. There's something for something. I love that they're doing that.
No, it really just kind of feels like the bare minimum that should have been happening when Vince.
One line, yeah.
Yeah, I know. Just explain why talent's moving from one show to the other. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we mentioned Baron's kind of got new gear with the nude colored striping on his pants and on his top.
Yeah.
It just looks like he has giant holes in his pants.
Mm-hmm.
Like the whole side of it. He's still got the fedora. Anyways, he comes down to the ring, and JBL tells us, look at Corbin. He's 2 to 3 times the size of Ray, and Baron's dominance starts tonight. And W gave Baron, a former champion, a former Money in the Bank winner, as his first opponent. They say Dolph steals the show, but I say Dolph has been stealing money from the company for 15 years. Because if Dolph had been walking around during the Attitude Era, he wouldn't have made the cut. Walking around backstage looking at this roster, if they had been around during the Attitude Era, while Hornswoggle would have enjoyed the competition, the only way they would have enjoyed the show is if they bought a ticket and watched stars like Baron. He is a star, and today starts the emergence of the modern-day wrestling god. So that Dolph comes to the ring. He and Baron have his match.
Yeah, and of course Baron ends up winning this with an end of days.
It wasn't an easy match for Baron, though. Dolph put up a fight.
They gave this a bunch of time. Dolph did put up a fight. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, like if you're gonna do this, I mean, I guess Dolph, his reputation precedes him. He was just NXT champion a couple months ago, but even in that program, he recognized that he doesn't win a whole lot anymore.
Yeah, that was kind of. I think he mentioned in a promo, like 90% of the time I don't win.
I think he literally said that in a promo. Yeah, he said 9 times out of 10 I'd lose this match. Anyways, after that, Miz is in the trainer's room. He's like, oh, is my knee out of place? Is it shattered? Just do the surgery now.
Yeah, that was actually pretty funny.
It was pretty funny. And then Byron steps in with an interview. He says, are you going to face Loomis tonight? Miz says, regardless of the diagnosis, I'm in a lot of pain. I don't think I can do that. And Byron says, several members of the custodial staff saw you pour water on the floor, then sit on it, then put out the wet floor sign. And Miz is like, do you think I staged this whole thing so I can get out of a match? How dare you? He says, I'm very, very injured. Of course, they're going to say I staged it. They're trying to fabricate an alibi because I'm going to file a lawsuit. So who are you going to believe? And then Gargano shows up, and he's like, oh, my God, it's Dexter Loomis. And Miz is like, oh, and he gets off the trainer's table, and his knee is obviously fine. Baron says, it looks like you can compete. And Miz says, yeah, it looks like my superior DNA has allowed me to heal faster than a normal human being. And that's unfortunate for Loomis because he's going to be the one who gets injured tonight.
Yeah. Then we got an MVP promo. Says, we're not here to disparage Braun. To the contrary, I'm here to celebrate Braun. The very mention of the name Braun Strowman strikes fear in the heart of ordinary men, but Amos is far from ordinary. He is the personification of the word extraordinary. That's why they're going to SmackDown on Friday. And Amos will walk up to Braun and look down at him to make sure that Braun understands that Amos fears no man. Let's face it, monsters aren't real, but giants are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. After that, we had they did a recap of Bray's return, and then we got the OC backstage. AJ tells the Good Brothers not to get involved in his match, and then Cameron Grimes steps in. Hey, woo! He says, "I could use some help against Skills'em." And Gallows asks, he says, "Oh, AJ, isn't this the brother with all the cash?" And he's
AJ's like, "Well, yeah, it's all in crypto or something."
Yeah, like he's like, "It's all crypto." He's like, "Hey." He says, if you need partners tomorrow on NXT, we're his guys. And then Grimes leaves. And then Anderson says, that's a payday for the boys. And Gallows like, yeah, we love money.
And I think AJ's like, oh, you guys haven't changed at all.
Yeah. It was good stuff. They got
their ability to riff off each other and improv is
it's terrific. Yeah.
Then we had AJ versus Dom. They gave this match a lot of time, but it didn't really quite deliver on the excitement level,
Yeah,
it just kind of happened. In the end,
I don't think Dom is capable of any. Look, this is kind of a litmus test, because if you can't get in there with AJ and have an exciting match, you simply can't do it.
I guess there's something to be said for that. So AJ puts Dom in the calf crusher. Dom gets the bottom rope. Finn and Priest pull Dom out of the ring, so the OC walk over to him. So we got a face off between Good Brothers, AJ, Finn, Priest, and Dom. AJ punches Dominic. So then they start kind of brawling off on their own. Finn and Priest and the Good Brothers, they're just there jawing at each other, talking crap. Well, the ref gets out of the ring to make sure they don't start fighting. And while that's happening, AJ puts Dom in the ring. He follows, tries to get in himself. Rhea grabs his ankle. Dom rolls him up. Ref gets back in, counts the 1, 2, 3. Dom gets the win here.
Yeah, that was pretty shocking. That was a big payout over at the MF Steve Here channel.
Yeah,
because I think he had less on him than No winner.
Oh, wow.
Backstage, Miz is warming up. Gargano walks up to him. He says, I felt compelled to help out a fellow Clevelander. He says, I've known Dexter for a long time, and I know the real story between you two. And Miz is like, what are you talking about? Gargano says, if you want out of the match tonight, just tell the truth. And he says, the truth is I've been victimized by a demented stalker, and tonight after I beat him, he's going to be banned from here forever. And he says, good luck with that. And Miz says, after I'm done with Loomis, maybe I got a score to settle with you too, John.
That match was supposed to happen next. Dexter Loomis is making his entrance. Miz runs up behind him, blasts him with the chair, and they continually blast him with the chair until he hits a skull-crushing finale on the chair.
Yep.
No match even happened.
No match happened, which was,
match.
I don't know. Maybe Triple H is like, look, just hold off on everything. Don't do anything. We're going to pick this up next week. Oh, you didn't know. After that, we had a Damage Control interview. Byron asked what's next for them. Dakota Kai's like, what's next? You don't want to shed some light on how we just beat Bianca and Candice? And Bayley says, I'm tired of people asking what's next when we should be appreciating what's unfolding right in front of us, right in front of them. She said, let's appreciate the now. She said, where's Alexa? We got rid of her. Dakota Kai's like, where's Asuka? Io says, gone. Dakota Kai says, this is a preview of how we'll continue to reign as tag champs. Bayley says, I hope Raquel and Shotzi are watching closely because they don't stand a chance this Friday on SmackDown. As for me, I'm over what Bianca pulled tonight. I'm over what happened at Extreme Rules because I didn't get pinned. She said, but I'm not going to let Bianca off that easy. Next week, I'm going to show her what it's like when I'm back in control.
Yep. And then we got Gargano confronting Miz backstage. He goes up to the Miz and says, bad move, Mike. Do you think that's going to stop Dexter? And the only thing that's going to stop him is if you give Dexter what you promised. So Miz says, I don't know what you're talking about. Loomis isn't getting a WWE contract anytime soon. And Gargano says, I feel bad for you. What's the worst that can happen if you tell the truth? You get canceled, you lose your house, you lose everything. But hey, Candice and I, we can take over Miz and Mrs. Miz interjects, says, enough. What are you even wearing? Mm-hmm. And so Gargano holds up a whistle. Says, this is a whistle. I wear it for dramatic effect, but if you don't come clean, I'm just going to blow the whistle on you, Mike.
Ooh, whistleblower gimmick. He knows about Rawgate. After that, we had the Elias promo. He's got a piano this time. He says it feels great.
Keyboard.
A little keyboard, yeah. Not piano. You have a whole ass piano in the ring.
Casio keyboard.
They put a whole giant piano in the ring. He says it feels great to be back. He says, my younger brother Ezekiel's career was tragically cut short, but that's the reason I'm here. We've got a saying in my family, the show must go on. So I've got a question for everyone tonight. Who wants to walk with Elias? He says, normally I'd start playing a song on the guitar, but I wanted to do something special for OKC tonight. I wanted to play it on the keys. He says, but I get a little emotional for this song, so please silence your phones and hold your applause till I'm done. And then as he's about to do, he's interrupted by Riddle. He's got some bongo drums. And Elias says, hey, man, it's great. It's great to see you, but, he says, you're going to interrupt me on my first night back. Riddle says, I don't want to interrupt you. I want to say I'm a huge fan. You rock. And when Ezekiel was around, I'd get so zeked up it was crazy. And I even hit my bongos. He says, you want to hit my bong? And Elias says, no, it's not really my thing. Riddle says, I know what everybody knows, that there's one truth, and that means WWE means walk with Elias. And he starts getting the crowd going to the tune of Seven Nation Army. And then Elias says, I appreciate you being a fan, but I came out because, he says, you got a big match coming up next. He says, how about you take a seat and I'll play my song? Riddle says, can you play with me one day? And then he says, yeah, that'll happen. So anyways, he sits down. And then Elias starts doing his song. And I feel like they were holding off on hitting Seth's music to allow Elias to get a little... Because, it doesn't seem like he was doing some stuff on the keyboard, but it was like he started to get a little bit lost. And, you could tell he was hoping they'd hit Seth's song because Seth comes out, he interrupts. Yeah. And then that match happens, and Elias is hanging out at ringside the entire time for a reason.
Yeah, because Seth gets in his face at one point. Elias hits him with the knee. Later on, when Riddle is wrecking Seth rolls out of the ring and he's just getting on Elias. Mm-hmm. Hit me.
Yeah.
Hit me.
Yeah.
Because he wants to get DQ'd. or he wants to win by DQ. But Elias doesn't do it. Instead, Seth super kicks Elias. Riddle hits Seth with a PK off the apron, puts Seth back in the ring, hits a power slam, draping DDTs, calling for the RKO. Seth blocks it. While that's happening, Elias is getting in the ring. Seth shoves Riddle into Elias, hits the stomp to get the win. Elias gets a stomp too. Rollins about to stomp Riddle on the U.S. title. Ali runs to the ring, hits Rollins some ground and pound, spinning heel kick. Rollins tumbles out of the ring. Ali hits him with a suicide dive. Clothesline Seth over the barricade. Seth flees up through the crowd.
And that's your Monday Night Raw. Oh, you hear that noise? The people can't hear it, but yeah, that's Triple H zooming in. I'm going to go run a quick errand. He's going to take over for me to preview.
Hold on, I got a question. Are we going to do is he going to do the Dynamite preview too? I thought since NXT's in here, we should do Dynamite as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. He's going to do that too. Yeah, he's going to do the whole thing with you. All right, here we go. Okay, I'll see you later.
All right.
Hello.
Hey, Hunter, how you feeling?
Steve. Hey, Steve, how's it going? I feel like absolute.
Gosh,
don't interrupt me. I feel like dog shit.
Yeah.
Today is not the day. Did you see that Monday Night Raw last night? Oh my God. I will never let Road Dogg run a show again.
Okay.
Don't interrupt. I find it funny that I've known this guy for over 25 years since the formation of DX. And he hasn't, don't interrupt, he hasn't learned one stinking thing from the game, from Paul Levesque, Triple H, King of Kings. He hasn't learned anything. Oh, I didn't know how crappy he'd be running Raw last night. Anyways, much better.
I guess you should have called somebody else to run Raw last night, huh?
Lord, I find it funny this guy interrupts me all the time, Steph. My God.
You were done with your sentence. Anyways, do you want to do the NXT preview, please?
Don't interrupt. Don't argue. Yes. NXT, huge show tonight. I've been working on this one for months. It's my magnum opus. I don't know who's running it tonight. Hopefully it's not Road Dogg. He's trash. He's like the enforcer.
I'd assume it's Shawn Michaels, right?
Oh, you think he's cute? He's my best friend. I know he's sexy. Even now he's bald and he's got the weird wonk eye and everything. Still he's a sexy boy. He's not a boy. He's like a fucking grandpa at this point. Anyways.
All right, what's the preview?
First up on NXT. Oh, man, this is a huge show. Massive show. Characters and storylines. Roxanne Perez. Cora Jade. It's time to pick your poison. It's not literal poison. We're talking arsenic here. What we're talking about is two matches. Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade. They're picking the poison tonight.
They're picking each other's opponents, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, this isn't like a suicide pact. That'd be weird and dark. No.
Yeah.
Next. Sonya Deville has Toxic Attractions back in battle with Alba Fire. That's right. Sonya Deville is going to be fighting Alba Fire. I don't know if Mandy's going to be there or not. She's been gone, dealing with some stuff. I get it. Sonya Deville is going to be there tonight on NXT. We're going to beat AEW tonight.
All right.
And if what AEW is going to beat our developmental, who cares? Next up, I love this guy, Cameron Grimes, big scumbag, but he's hilarious. To the moon with this guy. He loves space. He has got the original club, right? We can't say Bullet Club. It's not allowed. Trademark reasons. Legal issues. We got our own legal issues for help in the battle with the schism. I used to like when these guys were the grizzled young veterans, but then Sean was like, hey, I got a great idea. I was like, what do you want, Heartbreak? He's like, well, let's not do grizzled young veterans. Let's make them schism. I was like, oh, whatever. I don't care.
Hey, Triple H, can you do me a favor?
Oh, my God. Jesus, what was that?
I got that taken care of, yeah.
Hold on. Yeah, you wanted a favor?
Can you do the Cameron Grimes catchphrase, but try to do a Cameron Grimes impression?
Oh, like get my voice? Yeah, okay, hold on a second.
Yeah.
All right, today I'm going to go to the moon.
Cool, thank you. All right, what's next on the docket for NXT tonight?
Tony D'Angelo, the dawn of NXT, not D-A-W-N, it's like the godfather of NXT, is to select the opponent for this guy named Stax. Remember when there was two of the Stax and one of them got killed and then he ended up on that pissant AEW show?
Yeah.
What an idiot. Anyways.
Who's Stack's opponent going to be? Can you give us a hint?
I'm not going to pick it. It's going to be the dawn of NXT. D-A-D-O-N.
All right. What's next? We got one more.
It's probably going to be like, I don't know, Von Wagner, a piece of trash like that. I don't know what Sean sees in Von Wagner. I'll be honest with you. He's garbage. Yeah. Anyways.
How do you feel about Von's reign as dumpster champ?
I think it's been an epic reign. I think anybody who smells like that, anybody who walks around with a dog shit all over their shoes like he does, smells like piss. Von Wagner, top dumpster champion, not NXT material. Get him out of here.
All right.
All this Come Tuesday business is disgusting. Nobody wants to talk about fluids.
What's the last thing?
Oro Mensa, which sounds like some sort of Oro Mensa. What kind of fucking name is
Just move on.
And Wesley team up against, what is Wesley a tag team? It's like two guys, Wes and Lee, team up against Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. Why hasn't Sean sent me these guys to main roster yet? Why is he holding on to Carmelo and Trick? They're the best things going in NXT. Oro Mensa sounds like some sort of dental product.
Let's move on.
Oral Mensa. All right. Well, let's talk about this pissant company, AEW.
Do you watch AEW at all?
No, I don't watch that shit.
You don't watch this to see what they're doing? You know, there's a lot of people I know you were friendly with or used to work with you.
I keep in contact with all those people. You know, I was asking John Moxley the other day. I was like, "Hey, Dean, you want to come back to the Federation?" He was like, I got a 5-year contract. I'm like, it's stupid. Hangman Page, I want him on our team. They got a match tonight, John Moxley and Hangman Page. Yeah, gee, I wonder what's going to happen there. They're giving a free title match on TV, a pay-per-view match on TV. Oh, that's right. They only have 4 pay-per-views a year and 8 battles of the belt.
All right, what's next? Oh, we got Tony Storm versus Hikaru Shida. Of course, you know Tony.
They're going to give this match 7 minutes. What is this crap? Yeah, Tony, I'd love Tony. Tony, unfortunately, I would have brought her back. She'd be champion right now, but she signed a 5-year deal with AEW, so she can show up once a month on TV.
All right. Someone else you know quite well, Chris Jericho, defending the Ring of Jericho title against Dalton Castle.
Can I be honest with you? This guy was a trash worker in 1998. He's a trash worker now.
You know, one of Steve's favorite moments of yours is when Jericho beat you for the belt, and then you complained to Earl Hebner and had him overturn the decision. You want to shoot? That was real. I actually had Earl change that. They were going to go with Chris Jericho as champion back there. He's a terrible worker. He's trash. Yeah. No, he was garbage then. He's garbage now. They just signed him to a 3-year deal. So, and then also we got a trios. What is WWE going to bring in some trios title? Yeah, what do we need? What are we, AEW? What are we, a pissant company? We got tag title. 2 people, not 3. 3's a crowd. Haven't you heard that phrase? Jack Tripper? Yeah, I have. Yeah. Seen the show, yeah. Yeah, that dude, he would bang all the time. Nothing but sex going out of that sitcom. All right, come on. Respectfully, Paul, we got to get through this segment. John Ritter was a legend. Gosh. He was great. What are you talking about? Yeah, I know. John Ritter was great. You ever seen Bad Santa, the unrated version? No, I haven't. You and Steven have a field day talking about that. Best Friends challenge Death Triangle for the trios title. Oh, man, best friends. You know who my best friends are? Let's get ready to suck it. D-Generation X. Where's Daddy Ass in this preview? He's the only person I'm tuning in to see. I love him. We just got a raid from Colt Cabana. Hey, Colt, come to the Federation. All right. Thanks, Triple H. Have a good one. All right. Gosh. We'll see you guys tonight for NXT. Goodbye. I'm back. How did that go? Did that go good? That's tough. It was tough? It's tough, man. Really? I don't know what he's going to say. Oh, he's a loose cannon, that Triple H. Yeah, he is. He is a loose cannon. Hey, Colt Cabana rated us. Hey, that's thanks cool. For the raid, Colt. Thanks so much. Colt. Oh, God. Did he say something to Colt? No. Well, that's good. Did he? Was he trying to tamper? I want to get into it. No. You'll have to go back and watch, but I did cut him off a couple times. Hold on a second. Wait. He's coming back. He's zooming in again. By the way, the Enforcer's a huge heaping pile of trash. Oh, my gosh. All right, he just left again. Bye, Triple H. Gosh. How much longer do we have to do this? The show? The show's over. No, like Colin and Triple H. Oh. You see all this gray hair in my beard? Yeah. I think talking to Triple H several times a week is causing more of it. Well, at least, you're not going to blame me for that one anymore. Rather better him than me. So I'm sorry, but this is now one of our most popular segments, is bringing it. Look, we're a big deal. The popular segments are the ones that come at my expense, always. That's sort of how we've managed our career. It's been kind of great.
Anyways, thanks everybody for hanging out with us. We appreciate it. Unfortunately,
Yes.
Triple H ran long, so we're not going to do questions today. But maybe we'll do those another time.
Oh, I got a headache now.
Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.